Gather your materials for your vinyl bag. That is the zipper, the front two halves, and the back piece of vinyl. All right, first you remove your tearaway stabilizer because that's what gives you a clean finish when you're done. And stitch out the placement for your bag and your zipper. Next, you pin or tape down your zipper and run the tack down for the zipper. Remember the orientation of your zipper pull, whether you want it to open right to left or left to right or up to down or whichever way you consider it. The ribbon loop, if you're using one, is going to stitch on this side, as I can see in my machine. If I need to skip forward, I just already know it's on that side. So I chose to have the zipper pull come from this direction, but the orientation is your choice. Okay, now I've taken one of my front halves, that's one of the smaller halves, and I placed it lined up close to the zipper teeth. If you look, you can see that it's not touching the zipper teeth, but it's really close. I want to give my zipper pull room to move past it, but it does need to be really close. And then you run the tack down for this half, and the next half will tack down in the exact same fashion. You're just going to place it on the top half right there. And then after this, in case I forget to tell you, before you do the last machine step, yes, it really was that easy, you will stitch anything that you may have added for personalization. If you did add initials or a name or a monogram, you would stitch those sometime after you tacked down the pieces. Now I've got both halves of the front part of my zipper bag tacked down. I didn't add any personalization, so I'm just doing that as is. Now is the part where, before you move on and put your ribbon loop on it, you need to grab that zipper pull and move it to the interior of your project, okay? The inside where it's not going to be in the stitch path. If you forget to do this, your zipper pull will be stitched out of your design forever. I'm just kidding. You can fix it later on most projects, but it's just a pain in the butt, so don't do that. So if you need to know what side your ribbon loop is going to stitch out on, you can look at your machine. I already know that mine's going to stitch out on the right side. That's right here. So I've grabbed my ribbon loop. I'm using a piece of red elastic. And I folded it in half, and you can see the loop side, and it's got a raw side. So when I put it on my project, I'm going to leave the loop side inside the project, and the raw side is facing out. See that? And I'm going to put it like right above the zipper. It doesn't have to be perfect on top of it, or it can go wherever you want. And honestly, it doesn't even have to go here. If you would rather your ribbon loop be at the top, like in the middle of the circle, that's fine too. You can do whatever you want. But this tack down that is provided with the bag will tack it down right here. So I'm going to grab a piece of tape and tape that down. It just needs to stay there for a few seconds so that you can tack down that ribbon loop or elastic loop. So now you've got your zipper pull on the inside of your project. You've got your ribbon or elastic with the loop on the inside of your project. Now you're going to grab your back piece of vinyl, very easy, and plop it right there to cover the whole circle or the whole shape of your bag so far. Okay, and then you can pin that down or clip it or tape it, and the next step will go all the way around this circle, or if you're doing a square or a rectangle or anything else, this is the same step. It's just the last step to seal everything up together. Okay, now what may be arguably the most important part of an in the hoop project, I've taken my frame off of my machine, but I have not unhooped my project. I'm looking at the front, looks great. Looking at the back, looks great. Nothing is wrinkled or folded or not stitched down correctly. So now I can remove my project from my hoop and take it to my cutting area. Okay, so we are now at our cutting surface. Also, this is another day that I'm shooting this video. So if you see different things on my desk or my shirt is different, this is today. And I started this yesterday. So now we have our vinyl zipper bag front and back. This was the back of our hoop. That's why you see that nesting and stuff. So now, very easy. And I say that, and I don't see my seam ripper on my desk, which stinks. But we can make do. So now you are simply going to remove all of the stabilizer from the outside of your project. Now this is where an embroidery design specifically made for vinyl, or at least mine from Designs by Little Bee, differ from a regular zipper bag. I make all of the steps that have to trace, that are similar, exactly the same path so that you don't have, so that all the stabilizer just comes off quickly. See, this is just one, it's practically one solid line, even though we made like 3 circles, right? So when you're pulling your stabilizer off, you will notice that there are some places where the thread seems to be stuck. You can trim that with your scissors. Those were the placement stitches, like right here. Can you see that? Those were the placement stitches. They're not necessary anymore. So you can trim those as you pull off your stabilizer. You don't want to like cut any stitches inside your stitch path, like that are holding down your zipper, but that shouldn't be an issue. You should just be able to trim away any of those tack down. See, there's one right there. Doop. Doop. Okay. So that was very easy. I love how fast that tearaway, how clean that tearaway product that I use tears away. Editing Melissa here. I will explain in just a couple of minutes in the video why I would give a bigger seam allowance to vinyl bags, like maybe 1/3 of an inch. I didn't do that in this part of the video where I'm trimming, but I will explain in just a couple of minutes why that's important. And I will tell you where I got it. I got it at Carolina Thread Place, which my good pal Will owns. And it is the crispest, I just made that word up. It is the most crisp stabilizer you will ever find. So now you trim around your project. I'm trying to focus on the project and not my Diet Dr. Thunder. There we go. Okay, so I wish I'd given myself a little more. I would say between 1/4 and 3/8 of an inch on that edge for a seam allowance. And now if you see any like stray threads or anything that just bugs you and looks messy, you can trim that right now from the inside. I had a couple of red threads that were just going everywhere, so I trimmed those. Now you simply find your zipper pull, wiggle it open, and turn your project inside out. That's it, guys. That's how easy it is to make the vinyl zipper bag. And this one is round, but on my website, I have lots of shapes. I did want to mention something now that I'm looking at my project. I want to mention that when I said to leave a larger seam allowance, I'm going to show you something that is bugging me. So I cut way too close on my zipper. See that? Do you see how close I am on my zipper? I don't like that at all. And what has happened is when I turned my project, do you see how close that is? When I turned my project inside out, with all of like the manipulation of turning it and fidgeting with it and pushing it and pulling it, what happened to this particular bag is that a piece of the very tip, the very end of the zipper kind of popped out. Now it's okay, it's still held in place, it's still stitched in, but when I'm closing it, it's just a teeny tiny detail that I can see that little nylon part of that zipper sticking out. I don't know if you can even see it. It probably wouldn't be noticeable to anybody else, but that bugs me. So when you're trimming your bag out, make sure you give yourself like I would say 1/4 of an inch seam allowance around the edge so that none of the zipper pieces pop out like this one does. That bugs me. I don't like it. So that is how we made our round zipper bag. I have lots of other shapes on my website at designsbylittlebee.com. I also have bags. This was a size 3 zipper. I also have bags that were made for a size 5 zipper, which is wider and usually look chunkier and funkier. Really fun to use those. And you can find any of those designs by going to my website, designsbylittlebee.com, and you can search for vinyl zipper. I think that should find you some good results, and I'll remember to put some in the description for this video. I will see you in the next video, and I'll chat with you in the group. Bye.